True American horror stories. Terrifying events they wish you'd never heard, but now you will. Story 1. Room 6. My name's Zach. This happened not that long ago. March 2025. I was driving north through Arizona. Long day, nothing but heat, and my brain was already shutting down. I just finished a haul, running solo, and I needed a place to crash. Fast. My phone was dead. GPS? Gone. No service. Just road. Empty, black, endless. The kind that makes you feel like you're the only person left on Earth. Then I saw it. A flickering neon sign by the side of the highway. Motel 66. It looked like it hadn't been touched in 20 years, but the lights were on. That was enough. The motel wasn't abandoned, just frozen in time. 1 floor, 10 doors. A reception window glowing dim yellow. The kind of place you see in old movies or nightmares. I pulled in. No other cars. No sound, except for some low humming behind the building. Maybe a generator. Inside, a woman stood behind the desk. Late 40s, maybe. She looked at me like she'd seen me before. Didn't say a word. I asked. Got a room for the night? She nodded once, reached under the counter, slid a key toward me. Room 6. Heavy metal, old school tag. I paid in cash. No receipt, no ID, no words. The room was straight out of the 90s. Peeling wallpaper. CRT television. Yellow lamp. Carpet that smelled like mildew and plastic. And something else, like a hospital that had been locked for too long. I dropped my bag on the chair, kicked off my boots, and passed out. Didn't even pull the blanket up. I woke up at 2:14. I remember the clock flickering as I looked at it. There was no sound, but something felt wrong. You know that feeling when the room's too quiet? Then I heard footsteps. Bare. Slow. Right outside the door. Click. A light switch in the hallway. Light flared under the door for a second. Then darkness again. Then 3 knocks. Perfectly spaced. Sharp. No voice. No movement. I sat up, heart pounding, waited. Then got up and opened the door. Nobody there. Just a straight hallway, buzzing yellow lights, and that same cold air you feel in basements. I stood for a second, closed the door, locked the latch, laid back down, tried to breathe normal again. Then, another sound. This time, from inside the room. The bathroom. I turned. The door was cracked open, exactly like I'd left it. But there was something written on the mirror, like someone traced it with their finger. Too late, but there was no steam. I hadn't used the sink or the shower, and the letters looked fresh. I grabbed my bag and left. Back at the front desk, nobody. Just the board with the keys. 10 hooks. All keys hanging in order. Except number 6. There wasn't even a spot for it. I got in the truck, GPS kicked in like nothing had happened. I dropped a pin, just to check it out later. Drove off. The next morning, I pulled up the pin, checked satellite view, empty dirt lot, overgrown weeds. No motel, no building, no foundation, just nothing. But in the back of my truck, next to my bag was the key. Room 6. Same heavy tag, same scratches. I swear I left it at the front desk. I don't drive at night anymore. And if you ever see an old neon sign that says Motel 66, middle of nowhere, Arizona, keep driving, even if you're dead tired. Story 2. The backpack from room 10. My name's Ed. I was hitchhiking through Idaho, heading south. Early March. Still cold, but the snow had started to melt. I'd been on the road for almost 3 days, sleeping in truck stops and gas station lots. That afternoon, I was dead tired and saw an old roadside motel just off the highway. The kind with a flickering sign and peeling paint. There was no one at the front desk, just a little bell and a note that said, "Check yourself in. Write your name, number. Leave your backpack at the counter." So I did. Dropped my bag, signed in. A minute later, a woman appeared, probably in her 40s. Quiet. Looked like she hadn't slept in days. She handed me a key. Room 9. No words. The room was fine. Cheap soap smell. Stiff blanket. Barely working lamp. But after sleeping on concrete, it felt like luxury. I washed my face, plugged in my phone, lay down. About 30 minutes later, someone knocked. It was the same woman. She asked, "Is this your backpack?" She handed me a black one, Same brand, same size, same worn edges. Looked just like mine. I nodded without thinking. She gave a small smile and walked away. Later that night, I unzipped it and froze. It wasn't mine. Inside were near Swift, just a small Polaroid photo, a guy standing under a Motel 66 sign, a compact first aid kit, a rubber glove, and a key. Old heavy, marked room 10. I went back to the front desk. Do you have a room 10? She looked at me like I'd said something offensive. We only have 9 rooms. You're in the last one. I couldn't sleep. I kept feeling like someone was close. Not watching me, just near. Like quiet breathing in a crowded elevator. And I swear I heard footsteps on carpet. But I was on the top floor. I opened the door. Hallway was empty. Nothing. The next morning, I checked the backpack again. Still not mine. I decided to return it. But where? I walked the hallway. Room 8, then mine. 9. But between them a strange indent in the wall. Like there used to be a door there. And just above eye level, screw holes where a number plate had been. I pulled out the key. Tried it. Click. The door opened. The room inside looked just like mine, but not quite. The TV was a different model. The window was boarded up. On the nightstand was the same Polaroid, only without the signature, and hanging on the wall, a coat. My coat. But mine was in my room. Or, I thought it was. I backed out, closed the door, didn't take the key. At the front desk, I asked, did anyone check out overnight? She shook her head. You're the only guest this week. What about room 10? There's no room 10. There's never been a room 10. Later, I checked my phone. The camera had opened around 3:15 a.m. There was a photo of me standing in front of that door, but I don't remember anyone taking it. I left at dawn, dropped the wrong backpack on the porch. Mine was sitting by the front desk, like it had never been moved. Now, if someone hands me something that looks like mine, I check it twice, because not everything that finds you was meant to be found. Final story 3. The room that wasn't booked. My name's Alex. I'm a courier. Freelance. I drive across states delivering packages. I sleep wherever I can, mostly in my car, sometimes in cheap roadside motels. The kind of places with peeling paint, buzzing fluorescent lights, and the smell of old detergent that never quite leaves the sheets. I use booking apps. No people. No questions. Just keys and walls. I like it that way. But something happened in February 2025 that changed how I look at motels, maybe how I look at myself. It was outside Portland. I was on a run, same route as always. Light rain tapped the windshield. Cold. I was tired, hungry. My back ached from hours behind the wheel. I pulled over and searched the app. Cedar Pines Motel popped up first. Cheap, quiet, clean, easy access. Reviews looked fine. I scrolled through the available rooms. There were 8 listed, but just before I hit confirm, a 9th appeared at the bottom. Room 12. No image, no description, just available. I tapped it. Got the confirmation. Email came through. Screenshot saved. Everything felt routine. The motel looked off. Not dirty, just faded, like it had been paused somewhere in the 80s. Dim sign. Wet gravel. One old vending machine humming in the corner. The guy at the front desk looked half asleep. Young. Pale. He barely looked at me. I handed him my phone. We don't have a room 12, he said. I blinked. What? It's right here. I just booked it. He stared at the screen, then slowly handed me a key. Room 8's open. The rest are full. We've never had a room 12. I looked at the key. Metal tag. Faded number 8. My hands were cold. Whatever, I muttered. I was too tired to argue. Room 8 was fine. Bed, lamp, little desk. Everything was in its place, but it was wrong. The lamp gave off a soft violet light, not normal yellow. The pillowcases had a floral pattern, not what was shown in the app photos. The air smelled like that detergent I hate, but it had something else, faintly metallic. I took a shower. Steam clung to the ceiling like it didn't want to leave. When I lay down, I noticed the clock blinked. 2:47. But I hadn't even fallen asleep yet. Eventually, I must have drifted off. I woke up in a thick silence. No rain, no fridge buzz, no wind. It felt sealed. I went to the bathroom. Something immediately struck me. The tile was a green-gray. I remembered beige in the app photos. The mirror was round. The sink soap had my name printed on the wrapper, in the logo of a courier brand I sometimes worked with. My gut clenched. Back in the main room, I checked the inside of the door. It didn't say 8. It said room 12. I froze. I checked the key, still in my jacket. Room 8. Phone buzzed. Thanks for staying in room 12. Please leave the key at the front desk by 7 o'clock in the morning. I stepped out into the hallway. Everything was wrong. The hallway was longer. The pattern of the carpet had changed. Where there had been a vending machine, now just a blank wall. Paint tone was colder, bluish. I turned back, and the hallway didn't match anymore. It bent, angled in a way that wasn't part of the building before, like something had moved the space while I wasn't looking. Across the hall, one door had light flickering under it. I moved closer. Curtains were slightly parted. Inside, I saw myself, sleeping. Same hoodie, same duffel bag, same scar on my eyebrow. I stumbled back, but now the hallway had shifted again. It twisted further, stretched longer, everything blurred. I passed one door, room 11, another, room 10, and then room 12. It was open. Inside was my old backpack, one I lost 2 years ago in Nevada. Inside, my old phone charger. A jacket from college, an envelope with a name I hadn't seen since high school. On the bed, a phone, screen on, video playing. It was me, entering the room. I stared. In the video I turned, looked into the lens, sat on the bed. Then, another version of me entered. Same clothes, same voice, but something in the eyes was off. Like he knew something I didn't. And then, he smiled. Not a friendly smile, something else, like he was already inside. The door behind me clicked. I turned, no one there. I blinked, and I was at the front desk. Morning light outside. The key to room 8 already on the counter. I looked at the desk guy. Same pale face. What room was I in last night? He stared. We only have 8 rooms. Since then, I've tried other places, other states, other apps. But room 12 always shows up. Somewhere. Sometimes it's not even listed until the last second. Like it inserts itself. I haven't booked since. I sleep in my car now. If I see room 12, I leave. Immediately. I don't know who that other version of me is. But I know this, he's waiting. And he remembers me. If you've ever stayed somewhere that didn't feel real, maybe you weren't alone. Maybe you were already there. Case file Rental Unit 404 Department. Portland Police Bureau. Missing Persons Unit Case ID. PDX-25-0317-R404. Reporting Officer. Detective Mark Rennick. Badge number 4123 filed March 19th, 2025 at 08:32 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subject. Disappearance of Jacob Linhart. Location. 6123 East Burnside Street. Unit 404. Portland, Oregon. Executive Summary. Jacob Linhart, 33, a traveling IT technician from Spokane, Washington, was reported missing on March 17, 2025, after failing to report to a scheduled contract site and ceasing all contact with his employer and partner. Linhart had booked a private apartment through the Rendy Stay rental app, advertised as a smart-enabled self-check-in unit located in a recently renovated building. The unit was confirmed as Unit 404, accessible via digital keypad and remote-controlled lock. Upon investigation, officers discovered a locked apartment with no signs of forced entry or exit, a working smart surveillance system that showed unusual activity, and a recorded video that did not match the physical state of the apartment at time of entry. The subject has not been located as of this report. Investigation remains active. Timeline of key events: March 14th, 2112. Subject books Unit 404 through Rendi. Stay March 15th, 1741. Subject arrives at location. Access confirmed via smart lock logs. March 16th, 0830. Missed scheduled appointment at Tech Build. Corporate site. March 17th, 1215. Employer and partner submit separate welfare concerns. March 17th, 1550. First responding, unit dispatched March 17th, 1626. Officers arrive on scene March 17th, 1712. Entry made via building super with master code March 17th, 1730. Unit cleared. No sign of occupant. March 17th, 1805. Surveillance log reviewed. Video file recovered March 18th, 0920. Forensics. Collected digital artifacts. Phone not recovered. March 19th, 0832. Case formally escalated to missing persons. Apartment condition on entry. Front door locked from inside. Digital lock log. Confirms last open event on March 15th. Lights set to low red hue. Automated routine active. Kitchen untouched. Fridge nearly empty, except for one water bottle labeled Jacob. Bedroom bed unmade indentation, consistent with recent use. Bathroom light sensor unresponsive. Manually disabled. All windows secured. No signs of forced entry or physical struggle. Subject's duffel bag located by closet. Zipped. Wallet inside. Phone missing. Surveillance review. Smart display footage. Timeline of key events. Unit 404 included a mounted Holonist smart display near the kitchen. Set to motion-based surveillance mode. Synced to user account Jacob Leinhart _25. Recovered footage timestamp. March 15th, 22:41 to 0319. Total duration. 4 hours and 38 minutes. File size, 1.9 gigabytes. Encoding, local, no cloud backup. Found last synced event, March 15th, 2302. Notable segments, 2244. Subject enters unit. Sets down bag, walks toward camera. 2301. Subject speaks aloud. Holonist, turn on nightlight mode. 0014. Camera auto switches to night view. Bedroom visible. 0046. Subject asleep in bed. Nothing abnormal. At 0152, a figure enters frame from hallway, not matching subject description. Clothing, dark hoodie, matching subject's known appearance. Gait, slow, deliberate. Face, not clearly visible. At one point appears to mirror subject's sleeping position. The figure stands next to the bed for approximately 16 minutes. Motionless. At 0208. The figure turns to face the camera. No facial features visible. Camera glitches momentarily for 5 seconds. The camera feed duplicates itself, showing 2 beds, 2 sleeping subjects. Then black frame. System audio logs. Feed interruption. Signal corrupted. At 0319. Feed resumes. Room appears empty. Bed untouched. Subject not visible. No further motion detected. Digital forensics. Subject's phone geolocation last pinged from unit 404 at 0317. After that, device ceased all network activity. Rendi. Stay access history shows no open or close event for front door. Since March 15th, Holonist app showed no external access or sync attempts. Unit power logs, minor usage between 0150 and 0330. Consistent with smart device behavior. Final note filed by Officer Reddick. We closed the unit at 1745. Lights were off, all equipment bagged at 0207 hours. A patrol camera registered a blue glow in the apartment window. It lasted 12 seconds. Then, nothing. Story 5. That night at the Lakeview Motel, based on true events, my name's Kirill. And I still don't know if what happened to me was real or if I finally cracked. It was last summer, mid-July. I was driving through Oregon, headed south toward Medford, alone, in a beat-up car with no AC. The heat was unbearable, the kind that makes the steering wheel burn your hands even at night. I needed a place to crash. That's when I saw it. Lakeview Motel, worn-out sign, peeling letters, a flickering red vacancy, neon, blinking unevenly like a broken heartbeat. Have you ever pulled into a place and immediately felt like something was already waiting for you? Not a person, not a presence, just pressure. Like the building itself saw you. You ever felt that? The front desk was empty. Just a dusty counter, a little service bell, and a handwritten note, self-check-in, keys and envelope. Payment via QR. I hadn't booked anything in advance, but there were 2 unmarked envelopes just sitting there. One of them said room 16. I took it. Inside, a heavy old key with a metal tag. Worn, no receipt, no ID, no lock code. The door to 16 opened without hesitation. It smelled damp, not dirty, just like the kind of room that doesn't get aired out. The bed was made. Thin floral curtains, an old tube TV bolted to the wall, a mirror that looked strange, like the glass was smoked or burned. I kicked off my shoes and went to wash my face. That's when I realized something. Who booked this room? There was no record, no app, no name. I just took a key. What if that room wasn't meant for me? That night I woke up because I heard a click. You know that sound when someone flips a light switch, but nothing turns on? It was that. Soft. Barely audible, but it pulled me out of sleep instantly. I lay there, frozen. And the silence, it wasn't normal. Nighttime silence. It was thick, weighted, like the kind you hear in basements, not bedrooms. Then again, click, closer to the door, like someone standing just inside the room, flicking the switch. No light. Have you ever woken up with that feeling that you're not alone in the room anymore? Not because of a sound, just because your whole body knows. I sat up, slowly, turned toward the door. It was slightly open. I was sure I'd locked it, deadbolt and all. The hallway outside was pitch black, except for that dim green exit sign at the far end. I figured maybe someone got confused. Drunk guest, wrong room. So I stepped out to check. That's when I noticed something that didn't make sense. The room numbers were wrong. Between room 16 and room 17, there was another door. No number. Dusty. Same paint but slightly off, like it had been added later, like someone tried to hide it and just gave up halfway. I touched the doorknob. It was warm, like someone had just let go. I don't know what made me do it. Curiosity? Or maybe something deeper. Like part of me already knew what I'd find. I turned the handle. The door opened without a sound. The room behind it wasn't like the others. It wasn't dark. It was empty of light. Like light didn't exist there. There was a rug. Old, worn, but not dirty. It smelled like wood, and dust, and chalk. Like a classroom no one's used in decades. I took a step inside, and immediately felt something exhale near my ear. Not a breath, not a word, just closeness. I froze. Then, behind me, the door slowly clicked shut. I turned. No one. Do you know that feeling when the walls feel like they're breathing? When the room feels smaller than it was a minute ago? I stood in silence, and I swear, the air around me was breathing. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. The light was swallowed. The walls weren't reflective. Everything was soft, muted, dead, except for one spot on the floor. A drag mark, like a suitcase had been pulled across it. Recently, someone had lived in there, or still did. I ran, back through the hallway. The room numbers were back to normal. Room 16, room 17. I slammed my door, locked it, shoved my bag against it, laid on the bed fully dressed. But the pillow was wet, not with sweat. It smelled different, like a shampoo I don't use. Have you ever noticed how old rooms sometimes smell like people you've never met? Like they leave something behind. Not ghosts, just traces. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. At sunrise, I stepped outside. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Birds, sun, coffee smell from somewhere. Like the world had pressed reset. At the desk, a different guy was there. Older, glasses. He looked up and said, "You were in 16. I nodded. He frowned. Took the key. "This room hasn't been open since a guy disappeared in there." I asked. "What guy?" He didn't answer. Just handed me an old photo. Black and white. A boy standing in the room, near the mirror. In the reflection, himself. And someone else. Tall, faceless. Standing behind him. I left within 5 minutes. Didn't eat. Didn't fill up the tank. Just drove. Months later, cleaning my phone, I found a picture I don't remember taking. That room. That mirror. In the reflection. Me. And someone beside me. Blurred. Faceless. but close. Are you sure it's just you in every photo you've ever taken? Ever wonder who's standing behind you when you sleep, or who lived in that room before you and never really left? I just wanted a place to sleep. Now, I think I never left that room. These were 5 stories, 5 voices, 5 real scary motel experiences, all claiming to be based on true events. You've just listened to a collection of true American horror, stories that feel too personal to be made up. And do you believe them? Because if even one of these moments felt familiar, maybe you've stayed in a place like that, maybe it happened to you, or maybe it still will. Which story hit you the hardest? Have you ever had a motel experience you can't explain? Tell us below, or share your own real horror story.